Hey everyone! So today is not the usual BIM tutorial kind of video. I am doing my MBA right now in building sustainability, and we had to do a group project this semester that finalized in a big presentation. And my group and we thought it would be fun just to upload that to YouTube. It's quite lengthy, so see if you find it interesting. But for us personally, we just want to have it online as a memory so we could go back and watch it. If you are here for the BIM content, I'll give a little update about that at the end of the video, so feel free to skip to that. But for those who are interested in the presentation, it was actually quite cool. So each group got a different industry. So our industry was project development, like real estate development, and we had to pick a market. So we chose the UK as a market. And then like analyze the market there, the biggest players, like what kind of what makes the market tick and where it's heading, and then pick one company in specific and like analyze that company and come up with a strategy for that company and like our recommendations towards like a more long-term sustainable development for that company. And my group, we thought it would be fun to do the whole presentation as like a play that we would be working at that company and like pitching to investors. So, and these investors might not be from the UK, so that's why we explain like the market, and then we go into the company and what our next steps are, and then asking for an investment. And so yeah, you'll hear us mention this company Barratt Development a lot. We don't actually, like, none of us work for that company. We don't know anybody there, so we're not spokespeople of that company. We just picked it as our case study for this semester project. And so yeah, have fun watching it if you're interested, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Bye!
Hi, I would like to thank you all for coming here as investors today. I'm Carolyn James, Director of Market Expansion at Barratt Developments, and I lead the research of the development market and viability of market expansion. With me here today is COO of Modular, Judy Shabrawi, who will introduce the modular concept, as well as Chief Innovation Officer David Flores, who will run through the current state of the market and future expectations, and Jacqueline Norman, Director of Finance, who will discuss the financial outcomes of market expansion. So today we will lead you through the history of Barratt Developments and the real estate market in general in UK, as well as market trends, and then we will introduce you to Modular by Barratt, an exciting new investment opportunity. And Jacqueline will begin with an overview of Barratt.
Yeah, thanks Caroline. So since most of you might not be familiar with our company, we're happy to take you through a bit of the history. So Barratt was actually founded by Sir Barratt in 1953 out of his frustration that he wanted to build his own house, but he couldn't afford it with any of the developers on the market. So he built his own house by himself and then started a business out of it. And only 10 years later, the company got listed on the London Stock Exchange and has had rapid growth throughout the 80s, so that we're happy to be able to say that today we are the nation's leading house builders with over 17,000 homes, new homes delivered this year. If you look at the spread of the products we offer, ranging from smaller one-bedroom houses all the way to 6-bedroom houses and really nice condos in London. Our corporate foundation is that our customers first, we care a lot about creating great places. We're leading the construction actually ourselves, so that's part of the vertical integration strategy we have. And so because of that, we're of course care a lot about our people, we care about investing in our employees and making them happy, as well as our customers, of course. So our current organization, we have David Thomas as the CEO and CFO, John Allen is our chairman, Stephen Boyd is the CEO, and Katie Bickerstaffy is currently a director at the company, but she's going to be the CEO of Modular, the brand that Carolyn was already hinting at, and the reason why you're all here today to invest in this great business opportunity. We're going to explain more about this later. So first, the current brands that we have is of course Barratt Homes, our core brand, then David Wilson Homes, which we acquired a couple of years ago. It's we've been working together really well because they serve more to the premium market. Then we have London as a specific brand in Barratt, since it's a bit of a different market with different products that we deliver there. And then Wilson Bowen as our brand for the commercial market. Furthermore, we're structured in regional departments in the different regions throughout Britain. And about our performance, of course, 2020 was a hard year for us, same as the rest of the industry, but we're happy to say we've been able to bounce back. We're almost back to pre-pandemic revenues, bringing home just below €1 billion in profit this year, which is about 28% return on capital invested. So, and then if we look a bit at our competitors on the market, you can see that we're ranking really high in terms of revenue and income, but I think what sets us apart from competitors, if you look at the number of employees we have, it's a lot higher than our peers, is because, as I said before, we have the vertical integration as part of our strategy. We're happy to say that also we got through the pandemic without any major layoffs. So, since the real estate market in general might be a bit new to our audience here today, for the UK in specific, we want to give a broad overview over the state of it by my colleague David before we go into more details.
Yes, thank you for that introduction to the company, Jacqueline. And in order to fully understand the nature and the background of the proposal that we're going to present to you today, we got to have a clear vision of what the market in which Barratt Developments operates in is like. This market is called the real estate development market, and firms in this sector bring or arrange the resources that put together the technological, the mechanical, and the financial activities in order to build residential and non-residential projects. This means that the sector does not take into account the construction activities or the project management services that are also needed during the whole process. In the United Kingdom, commercial real estate corresponds to 45% of the market, and residential real estate, which is the one that Barratt Development mainly focuses on, corresponds to 40% of the market. The remaining 50% come from infrastructure projects. And all these three categories, from these three categories, the 75% belong to the private sector, and the 25% remaining belongs to the public sector. The market has a size of 32 billion euros, and this represents 1.5% of the country's GDP. If we were to take into account the construction industry as a whole, those numbers will rise to around 140 billion and around 7% of the country's GDP. It is actually having an annual average growth of 4.1%, ignoring the decline that it had in 2020, and it is currently employing more than 100,000 persons in around 40,000 different businesses throughout the whole country. The real estate development market is, without a doubt, a global industry. And the United Kingdom is positioned as the biggest market per capita in Europe. Unsurprisingly, its most active city is London, the capital, and that's the reason why we as a company have a specific business unit which focuses on this market and this territory. But apart from the capital city, other big metropolitan areas follow, such as Manchester, Liverpool, Bristol, and Birmingham, making the residential real estate development market the 8th largest field in UK's economy. Now, with this kind of scope and with this kind of dimensions, it is obvious that certain challenges have to be tackled, and the market has had a turbulent history throughout the years, especially during the last part of the 20th century. You see, after the Second World War, from the late 1940s to the late 1970s, councils were building more houses than the private sector. And local authorities were participating in the construction of about 100,000 houses per year. But after a series of policies that were implemented in 1980, the housing supply declined, and since then there has been a shortage in the supply chain that neither the private sector nor housing associations have been able to compensate for. As if this wasn't enough, the 2020's pandemic situation made the numbers reach new lows since the year 2012, and the market had a decline of 23% compared to 2019. But fortunately, these numbers are starting to recover, and the industry is expected to grow at an exponential rate from 2021 to the coming years. Now, it is important to acknowledge that there is no major player with a market share of more than 10% in the United Kingdom, but we are very proud to say that Barratt Developments is positioned as the company with the largest output, producing around 17,500 houses per year, which correspond to almost the 8% of the national output per year. Other big competitors that we can mention are Persimmon, are Taylor Wimpey, Bellway, among others. Altogether, these firms and other businesses, and along with the small public sector, build an average of 220,000 new homes per year, or at least the firms were doing so before the pandemic, and this number is the one that is going to be managed from now on, also in 2022. But still, reaching this number still falls short to the government's annual goal of 275 new houses, which is why there is a big sea of opportunities here in which we can implement new methods, new strategies, and new products in order to fulfill these goals.
Thank you, David. Now we're going to talk about the main reason behind the housing crisis and why the UK suffered from an increase in the cost of houses. In the past, the median house price was 4 times higher than the median income, but nowadays this ratio is higher, achieves a level of 8 times. So we can see over time past, the price of houses are higher than the income, because simply UK hasn't built enough houses. We can see here the average of the new houses required are between 225,000 and 275,000, but only the new houses built in 2020 are 160,000. Therefore, we can see the new house required are higher than the houses built, because there is 3 main reasons for this. The green belt, which means the land zone that surround the city, it's a restriction for the suppliers, so they can build as much as they can. It leads to increase in the demand. Secondly, the case by case, which means every developer should apply for to go to development, send an application, and it's studied by local authorities. It's not like other cities, they go for zoning, so also make it harder. Third reason is a social housing. After 2016, there is a new regulation and restriction for built underground, which also make the situation much harder. Analysis from the latest British Property Federation shows how suppliers act in this industry, with 90% of built-to-rent units across the UK are are in the urban location, but there is many other reasons that now lead to switch the market for the suburban build to rent. Also, investors are seeking for families as a long income, and also to avoid tenant turnover. And rental homes can be delivered alongside for going to Sigma Capital and Countryside using a portfolio of over 8,000 units of homes per year. Adding to that, after the pandemic related to lockdown, many of householders switched their overview for what they want from their homes and where they want to live. Many of them go for the suburban area as a access to a garden and can go for a larger home. Not only this, many other behavior change impact the industry to achieve the main goal of 0% greenhouse emission. Like going by 2025 for 100% of electricity to be renewable, also using the fabric first over the next 10 years for a better insulation, and many other new technology, green technology. So to sum up on this industry, how it is currently, the residential property has been the surprise outperformer during the pandemic, even after the 40% fall. Also, the real estate faced a very subdued 2021, anticipating a good medium term to recovery. Expecting investment to remain strong in the medium term in the future. Also, the strong performance of residential property during the pandemic is attracting new capital to the sector. Also expecting the build-to-rent investment to go for a higher record with down. Now we're going to go for market trends and government program with my colleague Carol.
So sustainability initiatives are impacting market trends in the UK. In November, the UK hosted the COP26 climate change talks, and the UK government played a leading role, committing to a target of 78% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2035, as well as announcing a new sustainability disclosures requirement that will affect Barratt and real estate and green finance in general. There is also a new UK green taxonomy that's aimed at defining the environmentally sustainable economic activities to attract green investment. This will classify real estate and real estate transactions as not contributing adequately to environmental sustainability. The consumer market for real estate is also being shaped by sustainability. 79% of customers say that they consider how environmentally friendly their property is before deciding where to live. However, small builders have poor knowledge of the code for sustainable homes and not enough incentive to build in this method. So let's take a closer look at the value chain of Barratt's emissions. More than a third of Barratt's total carbon footprint is from the energy that customers use while living in our houses. The remaining 2/3 is from our supply chain. That's 17% of raw materials, 28% ground preparation, and 15% in the building process. And these are the emissions that we can target for reduction. So we can reduce emissions by utilizing modern methods of construction. These are building practices that make use of off-site buildings, such as prefabricated systems and modular buildings. And currently the UK government is funding research to advance these tools. Statistics show that up to 67% less energy is required to produce a modular building. As a reminder of Barratt's commitment to sustainability, here's a quote from our CEO. "We want to showcase what can be done to deliver zero carbon living using the latest technologies and working with the best industry partners. Ultimately, the aim is to find solutions to enable the industry to build high quality, zero carbon homes that customers love at scale." As an example of Barratt's efforts to turn towards more sustainable methods of construction, we want to highlight the Z House. This was a flagship home built with modern methods of construction to showcase the future of sustainable building, and the construction time for this house was reduced by half compared to our traditionally built homes. And this is the first step to achieving Barratt's commitment that all of its new homes will be zero carbon by 2030. We want Barratt to take this commitment further, and so we're proposing a new brand concept, Modular by Barratt, that Jacqueline will introduce you to.
Yes, so very happy to present the new brand Modular by Barratt Developments. So we're planning on launching this brand in 2022, and its core business will be to deliver prefabricated one-family homes with a standardized modular design. So we've been talking about modular before and its advantages, and here we're really looking to create a green brand, focusing on like a modern, younger customer segment that is looking also for maybe an affordable home for their young family or for them and their partner. So the brand itself, or the company itself, is going to be a subsidiary of Barratt Developments, and it's led by Katie Bickerstaff as the CEO. What is going to be new for Barratt is that we will need to build a factory for the prefabrication. So this is what we're looking for. This is why we're looking for funding today. It's because it's a big upfront cost for our business. The factory is going to start construction in 2022 in a site that's already chosen close to our headquarters in Messaging. But before we go more into the business side of it, my colleague Judy is going to explain more about the brand and our product that we're planning to deliver.
First of all, we're going to see the 20 ideas of building a sustainable home. We're going to go on a few of them, like the location. It should be an urban area. It should be close to the transportation with the availability of infrastructure. Also, we try to avoid the sensitive sites. More also, using recycled materials and local materials just to avoid chipping and tracking. Also, we have the efficient heating, ventilation, air condition, just to be split in zones, not to be a central one. More also, the last one, built to last, just to last for many generations, not to be renewed in every few years. So after applying these 20 ideas, we go for circular construction, where we're going to introduce our modular building technology. It's about independent basic units. Rearrange depends on the customer need, and also it depends on the site where every function should be well oriented. Here we can see our small project. It's here's the basics function before rearranging, and after this, here's in this plan you can see it after rearrange. In this modular, we can see in how many ways it can be assembled together. And here we have the large product, which is on a big scale. We can add one more floor on the roof. And now we go to more deep in circularity with my colleague Dave.
Yeah, the modular concept takes into account different circular design strategies in order to minimize waste, reduce times, and promoting housing durability and resiliency. As an example of, or as the basis of these concepts, is that our modules and all the models are designed for disassembly, which means that all of their components are not glued or pasted together, so that they can be rearranged, and this allows the architectural layout to be flexible and upgradable according to the client's needs. The rearrangement of these modules is going to provide different kinds of options thanks to the compatibility between them, and the client is going to decide whether they want to make their house bigger, smaller, rearrange the layout according to what they want, and without the necessity of demolishing or wasting some materials. Apart from this, Modular is committed to use sustainable materials and sustainable sources of energy throughout the development part of the construction and the process of the building, and also to provide these houses with technologies, with sustainable technologies that can allow the clients to keep having an efficient use of the energy in order to satisfy their needs, helping Barratt Developments to tackle our goal of carbon neutrality by 2030.
So let's take a look at the key industry forces that we believe can be affected by introducing a new modular concept. Rivalry among existing competitors in the traditional development industry is quite high, with many industry players and high competition for land. We believe that modular creates differentiation and therefore lowers this risk. Additionally, the threat of new entrants is quite high in the traditional market with low capital requirements and no legal authorization. This is greatly reduced with modular as we require a capital investment on a factory. The bargaining power of suppliers, threat of substitution, and bargaining power of customers is low and will remain low with the new business opportunity.
We have to also acknowledge that there are some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the market in the change of our procedure or processes. And some of them that we can mention and that we have already mentioned before is that as a strength, we're going to have reduced construction times, and this also comes with a more efficient use of the resources and of the energy that is needed in order to create these buildings. As some weaknesses is the reason why we're here today, that we need a big initial investment in order to build the factory, and that the workers that we're going to hire to work in this factory, the labor force that's going to work there, is going to require some specialized training because of the different method that we're going to have there. Some opportunities that we can recall is that there is a big demand in the United Kingdom for the reasons that we have already established before, and there is a shortage in the market of houses, and that there are incrementing carbon neutrality goals either from the government side and like in the company sector, so that these topics are gonna keep gaining more relevance throughout the years. Some threats that we can acknowledge is that the technology is always gonna be changing, and it's gonna change quickly, so we have to stay informed and to remain at the pace of the changes in technology. And some other threats that we can face is that the material costs are rising and that there is some uncertainty related to the Brexit and COVID-19 situation. But this applies to almost all of the industries, right? So by analyzing these charts, we decided, or this led us to conclude, that modular is gonna work as a differentiation focus-oriented firm, because we're gonna specialize in a specific and relatively small but profitable niche of persons, and we're gonna enhance the characteristics of our product, which are sustainability, growth, and differentiate ourselves from other competitors with maybe more traditional or conventional practices.
So utilizing this differentiation focused strategy, our business model canvas is centered on a value proposition that's focused on quality, sustainably focused design in desirable locations. Looking at the customer side of this canvas, the customer segments will be house buyers who are cost conscious and sustainability focused. And looking at the internal side, the key activities will focus on quality design and operating the modular factory, as well as key resources of the top talent. The key partners that we'll need to focus on are design consultants and transporters to relocate our show houses through the UK. And putting this model into a realization plan, we expect construction for the factory to begin at the start of 2022. By Q3 2022, we will engage suppliers, train new staff, as well as partner with a transporter for delivery across the UK. By Q3 2022, we expect to launch the sales for the phase 1 homes, which would be 84 homes, and modular production will begin upon factory completion in Q1 2023. We will then work with local Barratt construction teams for the installation of homes, and phase 1 homes will be completed by Q4 2023.
So, and then if we look at the business side of things, we're looking at a 5-year plan for now, and from our current estimations, we're scheduling to break even latest by the end of 2023. And after this 5 years then that we're looking at, we're generating a profit of almost 500 million euros, which would be 11% of our total revenue. And at full capacity, our factory can deliver about 340 houses per year, which is also our sales target and kind of where we see us like entering the market. And the average price we're looking at, so we have 2 different designs that we offer, but we're looking at 500 euros, 500,000 euros per house on average. So if we look at that time span in a bit more detail, since I mentioned before the cost of the factory is quite a big upfront cost, so we're trying to break it down by not building out the full factory in the beginning and splitting it into two phases. So the phase one of the factory can deliver up to 50% of the total production volume. So once we reach that last year, we'll have to start building out phase two. So we're targeting to reach that by the end of 2024. So this brings us to like as spending that you can see develop here over the years. It comes mostly from building and operating our factory. The ramping up, we're targeting a linear ramp, so production volume should increase over the next 5 years. And what you'll be happy to learn as investors, as soon as we start running the factory in 2023, we're already targeting to break even that same year, and so having a positive bottom line throughout the following years as well. So here you can see that again, our targeted expenditure over the next year, as well as the income stream leading to a profit of, in total, like I said, like the 48 million euros. To support that project, we're asking for an initial funding of 25 million euros that will be able to return a profit after the 5 years. And now happy to go more into detail and answer any questions that you might have.
So welcome back. I thought I would give a little update as to why I've not been, like what's been happening in my life the past 2 years, since I was like posting videos pretty regularly before then, and then I stopped. The main reason was I just never saw these videos as like a career path. I was just still in uni when I started with the videos and just sharing like what I learned in university, and then like I saw it as like a hobby, right? But then when I started working, I had less and less time, especially because when I started working for Tesla, which was of course very exciting. So I was working for the last 1.5 years on the Gigafactory project here in Germany, in Berlin, as a design manager. It was honestly a super cool experience, but yet very just time consuming, right? And very intense. And so I didn't really have time to keep up my YouTube channel. Now that I'm back at university and doing my master, I'm thinking about maybe starting again. I gave an update on my Instagram that said I wasn't. I think the only way I would do, because now I'm doing a master in sustainability, building sustainability, it would be like to share something about these topics. So maybe diverting a bit from the BIM and purely like technical side, and do more about like share maybe like how to apply the sustainable development goals of the UN to the construction industry, or like what different strategies are for circular economy in our industry and something like that. That's the kind of stuff that's getting me excited right now, and like I don't really see myself doing videos about something I would not be excited about. But I don't know if that is interesting to you, because I guess most of my followers did subscribe because they wanted to learn more about BIM and Revit. So yeah, I mean, maybe you can just leave a note in the comments if that could be interesting to you, if you would like to watch that and learn more about that. I think it's like really interesting topics for our industry. But yeah, I have to see anyway if I have the time and if I really want to go back out there on YouTube. I think if I do, it will be like a video here and there maybe, but not like the regular schedule anymore. I hope that's okay for you. And yeah, so then I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I'm filming this on the 31st. It's probably not gonna go live on the 31st, so I hope you've had a good start into your new year. I hope everybody's been getting through the pandemic fine, and that 2022 is gonna be a bit calmer on the like healthcare side. And then yeah, sending all the best wishes to everybody, and bye bye.